it was very well produced show. Everything was great. I left like very surprised, like how good everything was and just how smoothly everything went. And the fights were very competitive. And it's just like all I'm getting questioned is about the fight. It's just such a that's when you know it's a great event. And DAZN is just on the right side of this one.
Yeah, no, for sure. For me personally, it's my worst one yet.
Yeah, I understand.
Really?
Oh yeah. It was like having a sick party and then someone
Yep.
OD'd and died at the end. That's what it,
Yeah.
Oh, madness.
that's what
A
I
sick
felt
party
like.
and then walking in and your girlfriend making out with somebody in the corner. You're like, what?
Yeah, right at the end where you're having a great time.
No, we can't have that, Mams. I know you're a bit bummed out about KSI and the decision, but like worst case scenario was I was scared for worse than that. You know, he did everyone proud, and even though you didn't get the decision, man, there's so much gained from that still. So you know.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I have not yet been able to sit back and say, oh, that was a sick event. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. BJ, you know this, and Leon, you know this as well. Like, at the end of the day, when you're there in the corner of your guy and
Oh,
you've
yeah.
journeyed them, it's like you're inside the ring. So the emotions, when the guy
Worse.
when the guy told me, so I knew the decision about a minute before KSI did. And I was just like, it can't be positive that he did a lot better than 90% of people predicted and expected, including Tommy. I mean, Tommy kind of brought this on where it's weird because he was like, I'm going to murk you in the first round. I'm going to knock you out so bad. You're not going to get past round 1 or 2. And then when he won, he was so excited and celebrated so heavily. You know, it was like he won the world championship. So
Isn't it ironic that he said the same thing twice against two YouTubers, and yet both times he's fought them, he hasn't dropped either guy at all, and he got dropped by Jake Paul. And come close to ending either of them. Like for him now, like they've got to rewrite history as best as they can, but we all know the truth.
Great job to those guys in the corner. Just great job. Hey, Riley. What's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
What's up, Riley?
No, I'm just thinking like with that one, I found it so funny that everyone was saying the whole lead up to the fight, they're saying, all right, JJ's got to make it dirty. He's got to make it a fight. He's got to make it gritty. He can't try to outbox Tommy. And then in the fight, he makes it dirty. He makes it gritty. He doesn't try to outbox Tommy. And everyone goes, what is he doing? It's like that was the plan. That was what he had to do.
I think the footwork really threw Tommy up. The fast feet really surprised Tommy for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, listen, when John Fury says I wouldn't have been mad at a draw, and then Shane Fury said basically KSI probably took that, and you know,
John actually said he wouldn't have complained if it went to KSI. He wouldn't have complained.
Yeah, that's what he said. You're right.
I think the Jake fight is huge now. I think nobody else. I mean, that's the fight everybody. I think it's massive. It's bigger now than it was before the fight for sure.
The problem we've got is Jake's signed to fight someone else.
Yeah, but JJ could fight else in January, and then they could fight in the summertime.
I think we can't rush.
But this is the worry, though, guys. Let me be clear. We've seen this in pro boxing time and time again. The more times you book other fights, the more likely we are to see someone lose. And to like, I just wish everyone could just stop what they're doing and just make this fucking fight. Because I keep thinking of Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz and thinking there might be an Andy Ruiz lurking somewhere who just fucks this up for everyone.
There always is.
Mm.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I don't know. I've got to first see, and a lot of people have been asking me this as well, and it's the answer is it's really up to JJ. I think early on I learned I'm not for my relationship and our trust and the way it flows best between us. I sense what he wants the most, or I get a real idea of what he wants the most, where his heart is, and then I guide from there. So if JJ says, look, man, I really want to get back to doing music, then that's what we're on. if he says, yeah, I want to do this boxing thing, a few more fights, then that's the direction we go, and then we'll talk about opponents. I know Prime, we've had a chat in the group, and they already working on Prime card 2, so that's gonna I think pretty early next year, not pretty early, like mid next year. So that's
It'll
gonna
be
be
tough
big.
to top that last.
Yeah, it's well, there's a lot of big fights out there still, you know.
You know what? I think it will be bigger though, because everyone's seeing the red carpet and how huge of an event this was. A lot more names will be keen to be on there from the MMA world and maybe the bare knuckle world, all over.
Yeah, 100%. As far as the action went on the card, obviously we've seen prettier fights than KSI versus Tommy Fury, Logan versus Dennis. Did that go as you guys expected?
No, no. Expected a lot more from Logan.
I expected it. I expected Dennis to just do whatever he could to shut Logan down and to survive. And I'd seen his sparring before, and I knew he had a strong high guard. I have seen him in MMA fights, and I knew he was durable and he could take shots. So I wasn't super surprised. I knew that if you fight strictly, especially when we watched the Alan Belcher versus Jason Moore fight, right? If you fight strictly with the sole purpose to not get knocked out, you probably can do it, right? And that's exactly what he did. You know, the guy threw like 9 punches the entire fight.
Yeah, that's the problem with his strategy.
No one's going to want to watch Dylan again after that, in my opinion. Like, although he's a celebrity now to some degree, even the reason that is on borrowed time. Like, with every day that the Logan fight gets further away, the less people care. And no one cares about watching him fight. And that's a real problem for him and his brand. Like, when you stink the joint out like that, it's not good.
No, I agree with that. But I think Misfits MMA might, as of these meetings I had over the last couple of days, I think we're going to start bringing a couple of fights into some cards where it's MMA fights. Not to take away from Misfits Boxing, but maybe once every 3 cards, kind of the novelty of having Survivor tag or a tag team match or something like that. So in that capacity, wouldn't you guys want to see like Dylan Dennis versus Nate Diaz in an MMA match, for example?
If it's pride rules, you can stamp on each other's heads and everything.
Leon's mad. Yeah, I don't know about the stamp on the head rules, but
I say if we let Dylan in the ring or the octagon, whatever you choose it to be, with a microphone, he actually might stand a chance. But otherwise, Nate Diaz annihilates that guy.
Even, you know what? Even Logan beats Dylan in MMA, in my opinion. He couldn't take Logan down even when Logan wasn't expecting it. No, and by the way, those big gloves, they're not going to be there in an MMA fight. So you can't just stand there like this. You're going to he would have gotten destroyed in MMA gloves quicker.
Be an interesting fight to watch Logan. And
Dennis, I think Logan rightly so is done with this guy though.
He should be.
Yeah.
Been teaching Logan since the very beginning is that style. Keep it long, stay on the outside. You got to remember, guys, like Logan is a full-time WWE wrestler. You know what I mean? So he's not working on boxing as much like everybody else, but he's still got some, extreme toughness and some good ability and some hand speed. But he hasn't developed maybe as much as some of the other boxers that have, recently started, because he doesn't do it full time. And, Milton teaches him that style to stay on the outside, keep it long. And I thought he did really good. I mean, it's hard to get in there with a guy who puts their hands up and just walks at you like that if you're not experienced. And I think Logan stayed very calm, even though he didn't knock him out. He could have done better, of course. He could have done some different punches, but for the most part, there wasn't a second of that fight he wasn't in control of. And Logan's power offset a lot of things that Dylan was trying to do, because he didn't want to get knocked out, honestly. So he just stayed in that shell. So I thought he did well. I mean, look, he didn't get the knockout, but I feel like against Dylan and how he's fighting, I feel like that was very effective.
Dylan's probably not too easy to knock out as well with that style.
He's tough to knock out. Dylan's tough to knock out like that. When he's not trying to fight and he's coming with that high guard like that, and unless you get an experienced guy in there to really open that up and come around and up the middle, then it's tough. So I thought Logan did a hell of a job. He dominated every second. So
He dominated it for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
I think Dylan, what he could have done, there were pockets where Logan was taking some heavy breaths, and Dylan didn't take advantage of that at all.
Because Dylan was also taking heavy breaths, wasn't he? Like,
exactly.
It's tough getting your ass kicked. And to be fair to Dylan, like all of those years of being Conor McGregor's punching bag clearly prepared him for that moment of being a punching bag for another guy. And you know, that's his thing in MMA is I'm going to be a punching bag until I can try and get you down and get the submission. So, I mean, he did kind of show what he's got in that sense. It's not a lot, but it, you know, on the ground there is obviously something there.
I will say too is like stylistically, if you're fighting a guy who fights long with his hands down, moves around the ring, approaching a lot of high pressure, high guard, you know, just kind of breaking down your opponent, that is the style that you should try to implement. I always think of Raymond Daniels versus Bazooka Valtellini. Now it's obviously kickboxing, but it's a similar idea. And it's just that Dylan only implemented the first half of the game plan. He never implemented the second half of the game plan.
He didn't have the bravery or the courage, man. He didn't have the courage.
Exactly.
And do you not think when he's 60 years old and he looks back at the one time the whole world was watching him, he might think, maybe I should have fucking tried to win. Like, what if I'd actually tried to win? What if he's going to be sitting there with what ifs for the rest of his life for that? And I think that's a shame, that, like, because to not even know what would have happened if you tried to really win.
I give so much more credit to people that go out on their shield trying to win than
B Dave has way bigger bolts than Dylan Dennis. B Dave, shut up, B Dave.
By far.
Yeah, B Dave has the balls for sure, and we'll see. I think I don't know if I can. Well, by the time this video comes out, if it'll be announced, but I think he's going to be Jarvis's opponent.
Woo! Should be a good.
He really improved. He really had improved in that tag team fight.
He was better. He was way better.
Yeah,
big improvement.
I tried to make Wasabi happen against Jarvis. I tried to make Ed Matthews happen against Jarvis, but he's hosting an MMA event the day before. But yeah, let's go through the rest of the card first. But what did obviously, speaking of stinkers, Anthony Taylor and Kenny was not a popular one amongst the crowd, that's for sure.
Nope.
What a shocker. What a shocker.
Hard to watch.
If there was one fight I called perfectly on this card, it was this one. I did say I'm scared to put AT in there with Kenny. Don't think he's got the power. Don't think he's ready. And I think we're at a point now with AT where there's only one guy in the influencer world who I other than the top guys who were going to be in the biggest money fights, I think Gibbo was the only one who I'd really have confidence in and having the style, the engine, the antidote for AT.
What about Slim?
The engine with Slim. The engine.
Yeah, he doesn't have that.
I don't know if he's going to be able to take on that relentless pressure.
You know, I'm done doubting Slim. I think he's kind of got a bit of an uglier style, which makes people underestimate him. But he just knows how to get it done. He does. So I mean, I definitely think that maybe it wouldn't be the prettiest fight, and AT makes that happen. But Slim, he's smart at being able to figure it out mid-fight. He does, you know. So
yeah, Slim's a durable guy at the end of the day, and he was definitely being dominated by Salt in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
And he was fighting off his back foot, counter punching, and then suddenly, from what I saw, he just changed his whole game plan around and was more active. But he was winning, coasting the way he was. He was still getting the best shots off. And when he got into that Slim range, which is just like mid kind of range, Slim does these short hooks, which are very, very powerful, and they get you. And I was thinking, why is he doing that? He
got greedy, bro. He got greedy.
Yeah.
Got greedy. The weight cut affected him. He cut weight too quick. 8 weeks before the fight, he was at fat weight. And then he weighed in at 161. What's the camp doing?
Well, I seen that. I seen on
3 rounds up, you just take your foot off the gas a bit.
I seen on Dominic Ingles' interview that Sol Papi had inquired about training there, which is like a class gym. But apparently there was issues with how much he was going to pay for the sessions. I don't know. Like, this is all out there on Ingles' interview, but so he didn't end up training there. But I don't know what his camp is like. But with a proper camp there, I think they could have managed that fight for him a lot better.
I think he must have got touched too. Like, sorry, Mams.
Go ahead, Riley.
I was just saying, like, because when I was watching the fight, he had a good game plan. He was winning the fight, like he was boxing really effectively. And then a couple shots landed, and it was like he just completely went out the window. He just stood right in front of him, like feet squared up to him, just getting absolutely pieced up, like huge shots landing on him. And he would get hit twice and then just stand there and just be like, yeah, what's up? And then get hit a third time. And so I was like, what happened? Like, it was like a complete change.
It's ego, isn't it? It's not that ego where you get tagged and you're like, oh no, I'm not taking this. I'm going to get one back now. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't hurt me. That didn't hurt. Oh, that hurt. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so it was something like that, right? But it was weird. Like, it was actually kind of weird to watch, but still credit to Slim. Like, he definitely figured it out. He dug deep and he made it work. But I will say that fight was that was an amazing fight. Like, that was a banger.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Credit to both.
It was a banger. And Slim does deserve credit. Remember, everyone on the internet calling him a duck, and it got to him. It definitely got to him. And I actually felt that during fight week, Slim was a lot less animated. He was a lot more nervous than usual when I was around him. And he overcame that. And, you know, he's the champ, and you got to give him credit. I think Salt, there were times where I was looking, when a boxer gets punched in the face and smiles it off, about 80% of the time that means it hurt, right? Like, there are some that
it's true.
They really mean it. But yeah, then the next thing was he was still smiling, and then he got knocked down. And then I think that was it from that point on. But Slim really did a good job. Credit to him, and he's definitely got a bright future ahead of him here. 7-0, best record in crossover boxing. Salt Papi, where does he go from here?
That's the big question.
I personally, Mams, I would bring him down I would bring it down just a little bit, something that he can, get a win or maybe be in a boxing match that isn't super, super dangerous for him, so that he can get more comfortable and used to whichever weight class he decides to go with. I figure that out, because I feel like he just doesn't have the information right now to know like where he's supposed to be fighting, if that makes sense. Like, what weight class, what kind of style, what range, like he's still figuring these things out. So I think we just give him a fight that he can kind of be more comfortable actually focusing on his boxing ability instead of focusing on weight cuts and focusing on promotion and stuff like that. And instead, well, always be focusing on promotion, but instead of focusing on how huge of a promotion it was, and just get a fight in that's not a huge risk for him, because he's taken some really big fights lately. And just give him one that is maybe
what about Jarvis?
Lower.
What weight is Jarvis?
Jarvis is going
155. He's fighting that, I think.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Papi ends up at 155.
Yeah,
he shouldn't. Sometimes it's not good to go down like that.
I'm only saying this because of the size difference between him and Slim. Even though he was performing, it just made me think. I wonder if, as the years go on, we might see him even drop again. But someone of the level of Jarvis was the first one that came to my head. Like, someone who's a battler, who's going to bring the fight to him, but also skill-wise, it's a good balance there. I don't know who right now, but yeah, someone like that.
Yeah.
Winterson?
Well,
maybe Winterson?
Kenny. What about Kenny? Kenny
would heavy. Be... Kenny's a little heavier, yeah. But... Oh. My mate Nate, maybe?
My mate Nate. Let's get to my mate Nate.
Yeah. Mate Nate,
the nicest guy in this space. Like, literally, couldn't be a nicer person. Did he win 4 rounds unanimously like that? The way the judges said, because I didn't see it that way at all. I was shocked. I wasn't shocked that he won, but I saw Winderson get some really clean body shots off, some good head movement. I thought it was a much more competitive fight than 4-0. What do you guys think?
I was disappointed with Winnerson. The output was very, very minimal. He does the good head movement, good footwork, but he doesn't capitalize on positioning.
Yeah, he makes you miss and then doesn't punish you for it. Like, and it was still some of the same problems as before. Like, yeah, you've learned how to move your head, but your footwork he's not moving in with it. Like, as he's not stepping in. So he's making you miss on the outside, and then you've done all that energy and that head movement, but what have you achieved with it? And I still think he's looking a bit heavy for the weight. I think he should come down a weight class.
He should be. It should be a lot lighter.
Yeah. But did you guys think it was 4-0?
I didn't. I thought it was more competitive, like you did. I just thought that the jab was the edge between them, and that Nate kind of looked at what Kenny did and replicated it. Not quite as good, but I think credit to Nate. He proved he's a really decent fighter, even though he is the nicest guy. And for Winderson, it's a shame. Like, as I think we all had real high hopes for him with that star quality that he has. But you need to learn how to jab, bro. I mean, fuck me. It's that, like, day one. That should be what you're learning. You know.
Yeah.
He was beating up the body in one of those rounds, though. There was at least one round where he was absolutely ripping the body apart. And a lot of judges just don't care about body shots, which I hate, because
some of his body shots were absolutely sick. Yeah.
Yeah, and body shots hurt sometimes more than a shot up top, right? And it's like, it's very much so an incredibly important punch. It's still a power punch. It's still on the point. It should be almost equivalent, if not equivalent, to a shot upstairs, especially if we're talking about jabs and stuff like that. So, I mean, I know a lot of guys that would rather get hit in the head than in the body, right? You look at, like, a lot of guys. And so it's like, I think they just didn't value that enough. But to me, it's like, the judges for this event, I will say, like, I almost just bypass it. I'm not really validating any of their scorecards. So I'm just looking at the fights as I saw and going with that. And I value what my eyes told me. And I thought he did well. I thought he lost. That's all that matters. I do want to see him back. And he's getting better, which is all that matters to me. He's definitely improving.
Yeah, and it wasn't a loss that would it didn't embarrass him or anything like that, you know?
No.
But yeah, thinking about it now, like, imagine that your job is to be a judge for a boxing contest. How hard is it to understand how to judge? I'm not taking anything away from some of the great judges in boxing, okay? But imagine you're like, oh, this body shot that nearly took this guy out. And speaking of body shots as well, I know I'm going back and forth. I got told that Slim almost couldn't carry on in round one from a body shot from Salt, which was interesting. Wow. Yeah, if you look at that fight again, body shots are very valuable. Shots that are clean in the clinch are very valuable. You can't not
so valuable.
Yeah, especially in longer fights. Unfortunately, for Winderson, the fight wasn't a long fight, and I mean, he hasn't got the greatest cardio, but he's putting the money in the bank for later in a longer, like, his body shots would really show more damage the longer the fight he's in, I think. But and like you say, these judges, they can't even add the fucking scores up right, man. We're not asking much.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
Dude.
Yeah, and you know, they were judging for how many hours, you know, so the exhaustion sets in. There's other stuff. There's a whole bunch of things about this that I'm just not happy with, but we'll see what happens with all that. But it's like, if you're a judge, that's your job, to be a judge a boxing fight. Imagine your job is to wash cars, and you go to wash cars, but you forget your hose. Like, it's the one thing you got to do. What
an analogy there, Mams. What an analogy. That's just exactly the same. It's exactly the same as judging boxing. You nailed it.
They left their brains at home, or their vision, or something. Specsavers was funny on Twitter. Did you see? They said, judges, DM us now.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, fight of the night definitely has to go to Dean and Waleed. What a banger.
Yes.
Anytime someone breaks their hand on their opponent's face, man, like, yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, and we all missed it when we were. I don't know if you guys caught it, but Dean's shoulder went out in the last round.
Yeah.
Credit where it's due. Ariel Helwani was sitting beside me, and I'm just watching this fight, hanging out, and he taps me on the shoulder, and he's like, "Hey, man, Dean's hurt one of his hands there. He hasn't thrown it in a little bit." And I was like, I picked up on it, so because he pointed it out to me, and so I was tracking it. But something that I will give him all the credit in the world is Dean. Not only was he just unreal, like Waleed is a good fighter. He can box, so he absolutely stunned on him. But then he gets hurt. And he just immediately in the fight makes a dynamic adjustment, switches up his style, spins around, starts using his other hand, and he played it off. Like he had a great poker face until the last round when I think he hurt his. I'm pretty sure both of his arms were compromised, which makes it pretty hard to box. So like in that last round, he was. Yeah, exactly. So it was definitely that last round that. And then credit to Waleed for coming back in the last round and just not giving up, no quitting him at all. I mean, we were watching, we were standing and watching his corner and being like, what is happening? Like, it's time to throw in the towel. And his corner at one point had the towel in his hand and went like this. Yeah. And then another one of his corner guys grabbed his arm and was like, no, not yet. And that was before Waleed came back and had his moment. So, yeah, that was just one of those fights where it was oh, what a classic.
One of my frustrations, I don't know if you guys have picked up on this, but a lot of the pro boxing crowd and, a lot of the pro boxers in the media have been heavily critical of Misfits because they watched the last two fights.
Yeah.
Now, I'm like, if you'd watch like from the pay-per-view up to that point, you'd have seen the tag team fight was absolute chaos. It was so fun. It was fantastic. And I've gone from thinking, what are we doing, to like love this in the tag team stuff, to then with Salt Pappy, Dean the Great, those two fights. And you're like, these were epic. Like if these were on a big time Tyson Fury card underneath, people would have loved those. So they're deliberately not talking about these other fights that were so good. And it just, I don't know, it pissed me off a bit, that.
And Brian, you know what also pisses me off is they're so used to the undercard being nothing. That fight wouldn't be on the undercard. So they don't even pay attention to it. All the normal boxing media does is look at the main event and maybe the co-main event. Maybe, like if it's like a big co-main, which doesn't even happen that often. Yeah. So yeah, no, it's that's what they're used to. But man, this card, like even the prelims, everything, like, man, a lot of people were saying it was too stacked and like it was too much and we were doing too much at once. But I think the hype that this card showed, and anyone that watched the whole fight, like this has built so much momentum for Misfits that for the rest of the year, like, oh, people are tuning in. People are not going to be not tuning in for the smaller cards anymore because the whole card was sick. I loved it. Like I was having so much fun.
I might have Dean the Great's next opponent coming through, by the way. My guy Joey Knight, the Chelsea guy, who we're going to be getting on a card soon against the Short King, Super Jay. He watched that fight with me on the live stream and he was like, I want Dean. So there's a storyline of brewing. I'm just getting involved with it for you. Yeah.
Let's go. Dean is out for a little while for sure.
Oh, I imagine, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna make it to the Brazil card.
We might need an interim champion.
Yeah. Yeah, we might have to figure that out. But there are some prospects. I just got a call from Ray Mu. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He said his nationals are over in December, so next year he's coming to Misfits Boxing, and he was supposed to fight a couple of times on here, but he's something special. He's got that street fighting background, but he's you guys familiar with Ray Mu or no? 135-pounder Asian kid.
I'm googling him.
Does he have like a boxing channel where he like boxes people?
Yeah, on the street,
like in a parking lot.
Yeah,
Asian kid. You said he's Asian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know him. Yeah, I've seen him before. He can fight. He can fight.
He's damn good. I'm very excited about him. And then prelims. Let's go through that quickly. What do we think? Tempo Arts chased them more. Controversy there as well.
I thought that was a bad decision personally. Like,
agreed. We all We all had Chase Moore winning that fight.
Yeah, I think he did win the first 2 rounds decisively. I haven't been able to watch that again, watch that back, but Tempo hit him with a lot of good body shots as well. But I feel like Chase could have done more if he let his hands go more in the last 2 rounds as well. But
yeah, I mean, it was a close fight, but it felt clear. Like none of us, we were at the commentary desk for that one, the 3 of us obviously, and none of us felt like it was a hard fight to judge early in the night. So the judges hopefully were still awake, and they still didn't get that one right, in my opinion. Like that one felt just like a clear no, this isn't the right decision. All credit to Tempo Arts though, he fought super hard. He came to fight. He fought through some big shots, but I don't think he did enough.
BJ, what was your opinion? You agreed with that, right?
I had Chase winning. Yeah, we all thought Chase won. Tempo had some good moments, but he wasn't busy enough. And the activity of Chase, I thought, 2-2, worst case scenario at the worst, but no way 3-1 for Tempo. No way. I don't know what they're looking at. It was inconsistent.
There was moments where. Was there moments though where
27.
Tempo was hanging on for dear life though? Like Tempo, like as good as he had some good moments, there was moments where you're thinking, how was he still in the fight? So to win the fight when you're like nearly out, I don't know how he managed it. To be fair to him, and no disrespect, because I really like the guy and I think he did fight well considering the size difference.
Yeah, and then. Astrid and Alexia, some say that was a draw. Astrid thinks she won every round.
There's no way. There is no way she won every. That was a draw at best for her. She should be worried because that Alexia girl, first ever fight, and was chasing her down without really knowing a lot and putting it on her. And her propensity to grow and be better for me is there. So for all Astrid's been training longer, you wouldn't have known it. I think that should have given her a bit of a scare there to get in the gym and to get better.
Yeah. And then obviously SX DTG. I've seen that look on so many people's faces when they first get punched in the face hard. And, I think that's just a lack of proper sparring. Credit to DTG. He's definitely improved from the fight with Halal Ham. Had a lot of confidence, did a lot of training, lost a lot of weight. But SX, that's my boy. So it was very hard to watch that.
Oh, mate, I felt so bad for you because I thought, well, I don't know who's coaching this guy, but how on earth is he in the ring looking surprised when it's hurting like this? Like, you should have put him in the sparring wars. Whoever's training him should be like, this shouldn't be a surprise now. You're on the prime card.
Yeah.
You absolutely, if it's your first fight, if it's even earlier in your career, like you have to have organized, safe, hard sparring. Guys, guys that aren't going to come for the finish, but they are going to buzz you, and you're going to be like, whoa. I think it was Joe Weller way back in the day, deep cut, but I'm pretty sure he had like a piece of his show where he had like the hard sparring day, and he was like really emotional afterwards because he got lit up for the first time ever. He was, I'm hurt. And it's such an integral part of understanding the game. He was like SX, like you're saying, he's turning his back. Like that's because you just don't know. You're like, I want to leave. You just got buzzed. The world's shooting his 3 opponents in front of you, and you're like, I just want to get out of here.
It's like Boogie 2988 vibes, like when he got hit that time, and he was like, "Oh my god, what was that?"
Yeah,
it's not a good feeling. We've all been there. And I just felt bad for the guy because I thought you should still be in the gym. You're not ready for this yet. You know what I mean?
No. But having said that, I've obviously spoken to him a bunch. Mentally, he's in a good place. He wants to come back. So when that happens, choose one of two things. Either you run from it and you never touch it again, or you say, that's not how I'm going to go out. I need to get better at this, and he's choosing that. And he has lost a ton of weight. He's mentally in a good place. So, it's a win in that regard. But yes, certainly it didn't, it wasn't a win in the ring. And then final fight was Ed Matthews came and stormed.
Wow. We predicted this a little bit.
Yeah, you guys did. I did. Who was on my side? Leon, were you on my side on this one?
Nope.
We were shocked.
There was someone who said Swarms is gonna do well with me. Riley, it was
Oh, it
you,
was me.
right?
It was me for sure. For sure, it was me.
Yeah.
I believed in Storm's Loki a little bit too much. I'm not even gonna lie. Like for most of his fights, I talked to him before the fight, just briefly, and I was like, dude, yeah, just give him the first round, man. Just give him the first round. High guard. Don't even worry about it. I think that's what I said. I was like, just don't even worry about it. Just high guard. Be defensive. Whatever. And the second he opened up, bink. So like the second he put that guard down,
the problem with Swarms
he
is he's so defensive minded. Like he fights like a guy who doesn't want to get hit, and I understand like to a degree, but like he was so easily pushed into the corner with just a few feints, and he was just there. And Matthews opened up. Like it was too easy. Like he needs to bite the bullet and start accepting. Like if you can't go out in the rain and not get wet, you know, like he can't avoid it anymore. If he wants to develop into the fighter we think he can be, which I think he's a lot better than what he's shown, he has to get over that mental thing.
And he punches. He punches like saying Brian. He punches like he's trying not to get hit at the same time.
Exactly.
Right? He punches like that. He's not committing to his shots.
That in his head.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not digging in, and that's the complete opposite of what Ed Matthews did. He was just like, whatever. I'm just throwing absolute bombs, and that's what it is, right? It's like you're saying, you're either punching or you're being defensive, or you're trying to be defensive to make room for your shots, but you're not trying to punch and be defensive simultaneously. It's just like you're saying, right? It's like
he plays it like a game of tag almost, like whoop, like and then he's out of there. Like it's not committed for sure.
Well, even in the Survivor tag, it was the same thing. Like he was throwing punches and he was missing his opponents by a good 6 inches just because he wasn't actually trying to commit to the shot and get in there. But the hand speed's there, the footwork is there. Like he has these abilities. It's just tying it together that's kind of missing.
He needs a day in the gym where they just like say like, we're going to get you getting used to getting punched, like not hard, but like, and just build up the resistance there for sure.
Yeah,
he needs a day where we're not allowed to walk back. Sorry, man.
His coach H is a very, very, very good coach, top-notch coach, and he's told me that he doesn't spar the way he fights, and he has heavy sparring sessions that he's very successful in. You know, so then when you see that, you're very confident in your fighter that he's gonna be able to do it. And then I feel bad for Swarms because I stopped at one point, but I was like, I kind of had to convince him. Like he was like, if it's not Ryan Taylor, I'm not on it. My mind has been focused on Ryan Taylor. So I put my foot off the gas, and then that was cancelled. And that's when we were trying desperately to get Mike Perry and Jake Botswick were going to fight, or Mike Perry and Idris Virgo. And then that didn't happen. So then I got a call back from Swarms saying, yeah, I want to do it. And I felt really bad for him for that because, you know, and his initial instinct was that he shouldn't do that fight. But how important do you guys think it is? Obviously, I mean, it's a kind of a rhetorical question, but if you prepare for an 8-week, 9-week camp for one specific opponent, and then you have to do a U-turn and you take someone else on, how much does that affect you mentally?
Look, if this is BJ Flores going for a world championship fight, that's going to be one thing, right? Like it's very different than at this level. I think you kind of have to be prepared for there to be shifts. I think you have to be prepared for different opponents. And also,
I mean, how much footage was there on Ryan Taylor? Like,
yeah,
like there's not a load of footage on him anyway, and you know, so this idea that his certain style is the one, like you fight the same way in every fight, Swarms. Like it's not going to make a difference at this rate, really.
Yeah.
I don't. So I think that was just a mental thing that he wasn't prepared for and that he was struggling to get over, which also explains the way he fights. Like there's a mental thing that he just has to get over, and then we'll see the best of him.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. And then obviously we didn't talk too much about the tag team match. You guys think a draw was the right result?
Yeah, I wasn't. I don't remember being like pissed about it. I didn't see like a super clear winner. I think if Bobby hadn't tripped, the result would have been different, right? And he's probably going to be pissed about that because I don't think it was a super clean knockdown on points for sure. Clean knockdown. If you get punched and you fall down, that's a knockdown. but he seemed fine. He popped right back up, and he was like, "No, I fell down. I slipped." So definitely a close fight though. But man, tag team, I'm in. I'm all the way in on tag team. I think it's so fun. Like that was absolutely awesome. It was awesome.
The thing that
competitive fight.
The thing that I never sort of thought about when we were first seeing this is these guys are getting rest. So when they're in the ring, it's 100 miles an hour. And that's what makes it so good. It was so out there.
Yeah.
B-Dave was built in a lab to do tag team boxing. Like he's built in a lab for it.
Yeah, he's come a long way. Leon, what's your final take of that night, and what do you think that stuff, all the results and everything, what does it mean? Any ideas come to mind? Did we lose Leon?
He's talking, but we can't hear him.
That's why I've been thinking Leon's luck. I swear, every week we take turns being quiet. BJ, last week you were more pensive and quiet. This week I thought it's Leon.
Well, sometimes you guys say it better than I could say it myself, so it's all right, you know.
What's your takeaway, BJ, while we're waiting on Leon?
I feel like Dean has got just the massive upside. I would love to see him in with some, ex, UFC champions and guys like that. I feel like he's got at 135, I think within 18 to 24 months, he could be a top 15 world rated fighter within 18 to 24 months. Massive upside, I said. The Salt and the Slim, I was listening to everybody talk about that a little bit, and the ideas that everyone has. I mean, just Salt came in with a bad game plan. I hate to say it, but I could train Salt in 60 days and he could go back and win that fight, no problem. He just didn't have the right mentality. He got overconfident. He was trying to, get in there and trade when he was winning the fight clearly. And I wouldn't have had him come in at 161. I would have had him come in at 165. It's not a weight loss competition. I want him to perform and just take the loss more slow. Take the loss of weight more slowly. Astrid's fight, I had it a draw. Chase fight, I had him winning, or worst case, a draw. And then the tag team match was great. I just absolutely loved it. So
awesome. All right, guys. Well, 0-11. Here we come. Main event. It's going to be Jarvis versus B-Dave, it looks like. We have a massive banger of a fight in the co-main event between Julie Poker and Alana Vampira for the women's cruiserweight title. That I'm really excited about, and lots more fights to come. It's going to be an action-packed card. We'll talk about it more next week. There you are, Leon. We lost you, bro. Final word, Leon?
Yeah, man. I'm pissed. I've been speaking, but I know it's a fantastic show, man. It's a fantastic show. Obviously, the ref and the judges played a big part in the show, and I'm not happy with them. I think they need to be a bit younger. But other than that, man, it's a big show. I'm looking forward to the next one.
All right, wicked. Thank you, guys. We'll pick up next week. Appreciate it.
See you soon, boys.
Take it easy, boys.
Cheers.
Take care.